Welcome to episode 6 of the Pleaser Life podcast. We are moving along. Today was a really powerful day, and it inspired me to record this episode. I'm going to walk you through the whole story. It was very spiritual, highly spiritual, and it was just incredible. And so today we're talking all about how to connect with your spirit guides. I know it's kind of off the beaten path of people pleasing, but I really felt called to share this. So if it resonates with you, hang around wherever you are listening. If you haven't reviewed the Pleaser Life podcast, what are you doing with your life? Give me some 5 stars or don't. Like I always say, you can speak your truth in the reviews. It's fine. It is totally fine. All right. So let me just walk you through what happened today. I had a psychic experience at my lash fill appointment. For anybody who gets lash extensions, maybe you have experienced the same. What happened is my lash tech, Audrey, was telling me a story as I was laying there with my eyes closed. And for anybody who's ever had a lash fill before, you know there's that big bright light over your head so that your lash technician can see what she's doing or what he's doing. And I felt like kind of like I was in heaven already. I'm like, is this heaven? Where am I in the afterlife? And so today was just different. I don't know what it was. I've gotten hundreds of lash fills at this point. I don't know about hundreds, but I've gotten dozens of lash fills at this point. But she was explaining to me this story or stories about her great-grandmother's relationship with her father. And I was like, that's so nice. Her great-grandma had crossed over years ago, and she was talking about all of the memories and all of the beautiful things. And the reason I'm sharing this story with you, let me just interject on my own story real quick. The reason I'm sharing this with you today is because what I get a lot of in life coaching is clients asking me, how can I tap into spirituality? And so many people are doing this now. In this crazy world of online action and social media, so many people are starting to open heart space for the possibility of guidance from the highest frequency of the universe, which is angels and your higher self. And so I'm not going to get into all of that today, but I do want to give you some tools as to how you can start on your journey to receiving messages and becoming more aware of messages that are being sent to you by your angels, if that's what you call them. Some people say it's my guides. Other people say my angels. Some say both. I do a hybrid. Whatever it is that you believe in. Maybe you don't believe in this at all, and that's okay too. But the first step to communicating with your spirit guides and being open to receiving their messages and being aware of them is to be open, is to have an open heart space and to practice. So anyway, my lash tech is telling me these stories about her amazing great-grandmother and her dad. And it was just like, she loved him so much. It wasn't anything very specific. And it was beautiful. And I just felt this warmth in my body. Now, let me also say this. The lash studio that I go to in Philly is always cold. And I guarantee it's for the workers' sanity and sake because they're just constantly hunched over all day. So I guarantee that's why. But it's always cold and chilly. And I just felt this like warmth in my body, specifically around my heart. And it was just really comforting. And then I started feeling chills. And I'm like, ooh, I know what that is. So if you've ever felt chills, just know that's usually a guide letting you know they're with you. Okay? You can choose to believe that. You can choose not to believe it. It's fine. I'm not here to push belief systems on you. That's up to you. In your sovereign life, that is up to you. I'm just sharing what people ask me. I'm just sharing the tools and the answers to what I get asked on a frequent basis. So she's telling me these stories and I start getting this. It was like I transported to a different reality, and I was very in tune with my, what they call in the spiritual space, the third eye, which is connection to your higher self. So it's not your physical self on this planet, it's connection with the higher divine being of who you are, the one that is omniscient, the one that knows it all, right? And so I'm very tapped into this, and I don't even know where it came from. It was just my technician. Actually, I do know where it came from. And I keep saying I don't know where it came from, but I do. My lash tech, Audrey is her name. She is so amazing. I would most definitely identify her as somebody who is very empathic. So she's very open, with an open heart in conversation. She is very loving. She's very accepting, non-judgmental. And so she also, in return, can easily take on other people's energy as well. I have this thing about me too, and maybe you do as well. I know people don't like the term empath. The truth of the matter is, empaths are very real, okay? If you want to learn more about empaths, there are videos everywhere. There's resources everywhere. But they're very real. It just means that you can literally feel people's emotions. So if someone is very sad, it really physically rocks you to your core. A lot of people don't like this word anymore, just like a lot of other buzzwords on social media, because it's giving it a bad name. Like they're using it to justify poor behavior. Oh, I'm just empathic. That's why I abused you. No, we don't do that. You can't say that. What? No. So the moral of the story is they're real. And Audrey, my lash tech, is very much an empath. And so she's sitting here telling me these stories. And I really do believe that because of her empathic nature and qualities and energy, and everything is energy. People are energy. We all have energetic, intuitive exchanges. She's sharing these stories and these recollections, and I can just feel this spiritual presence with me, with us. And I'm like, oh my God. And I could feel it in my body, and that's how it started. And then all of a sudden, as Audrey is talking, and I'm still hearing what she's saying, but there's another conversation happening, and it's divine. It's not from Audrey. It's from the angels. Like I know it's happening because it's there. And so it's very weird. I can hear Audrey talking and I understand what she's saying, but now the angels have come in or an angel has come in. And I'm seeing this like beautiful glowing amber gold letter T. Okay. That was the visual. And it was very specific. It was almost in like a little cursive-y type of like renaissanceal font. I mean, really, it was this specific and it was really beautiful. I was like, wow, that's beautiful script. Oh my God. And then I started hearing. So another thing when you're tapping into spirit is you can feel, which is clairsentience. You can hear, which is clairaudience, or you can see. I think there's smell as well. There's more than just 3. There are 5, I believe. Clairs, they're called. And this is just really how you react to a message from guidance, from divine guidance. And so I started hearing Tina. And I'm like, what is Tina? Right? The heck? Who the hell is Tina? And then this is the best part. And this would happen to me. I start seeing visuals of Tina Turner, the singer, right? I'm like, oh my God, Proud Mary, keep on burning, baby. Tina Turner. And I'm like, what is with this Tina? And so as Audrey's still talking and I'm still collecting what she is saying, can't believe that I was able, I don't know how it happened. It's just a divine thing that happens. You can compartmentalize. And so she's talking and she starts talking about her great aunts. And I'm like, hey, Audrey, what were their names, or what are your great aunts' names if they're still with us? And she's like, I don't really know because, I'm not connected with them anymore. They're in Vietnam and I haven't haven't really had a close relationship with them. I never really did. And so I said, okay, the only reason I ask, and I was so nervous, I didn't even tell her what was happening soulfully internally with me and what the things that I was seeing. Mind you, my eyes are closed, of course. And so I told her, I said, can I just ask you a question? I'm getting this. And we had been talking about soul business before. So it wasn't like totally off the rocker for me to do this. But I asked her if anybody's name was Tina or like something with a T. I just know that I was getting T and the word Tina. And she blew my mind. She said to me, "Oh my God, stop. I can't believe you're saying this. My father," who she was talking about, remember, she was telling me stories about her father and her great grandmother and the bond that they share. She said, "My father's name in Vietnamese is Teen." I cannot make this shit up. I really can't. I couldn't even make it up if I tried. Teen, Tin. She spelled it out for me right there. And I'm like, I can't, because I'm hearing and seeing Tina, Tina, not Tina, Teena. Tina, Tina. And I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. I said, I think your grandmother is with me. And so this is really interesting. Audrey goes on to tell me, wow, oh my God, Kat, this is amazing. And she's like, I can't believe this just happened. And I'm like, I know, I'm laying here at my lash appointment. Like, what is going on? I feel like Teresa Caputo. You guys know that show on TLC, Long Island Medium. I love Teresa Caputo. I don't care what anybody has to say. I love her. I just love her. I really do. And also my medium is from Jersey. So it's a little Jersey connection. Actually, it's not Jersey. She's Long Island. So I guess it wouldn't be a Jersey connection, but Long Island. We love our Long Islanders. I'm terrible. That was terrible. Anyway, so I am laying there and I'm like, she's telling me this, and this. And I didn't tell her that the tea, I didn't explain it because I was feeling, frankly, very overwhelmed. I didn't tell her that the gold amber tea in like that Renaissanceal cursive font that I was seeing, I didn't tell her that it looked like that. I just told her that I was seeing the letter T. And she ends up telling me, oh my God, yes. My great grandmother and my father, they had this bond. Like that was like that was like her child. Right. And so she always called him, I can't even with this. She always called my dad her golden child. And I'm like, stop with it. I mean, I didn't even realize this in the moment, but when I got home, I was like, I can't, because the golden tea, which indicates her grandson, who she identifies as her golden child. Like, I just can't even deal. And so more confirmation from Audrey and the connection to spirit. And then I ask her, I started seeing these images I get a lot of visual when I'm connecting with spirit, especially with my own spirit guides. And I get a lot of visuals with my clients as well. And I know this sounds crazy to people. I get it. There are skeptics out there. There will always be skeptics, and that is fine. That's fine. The reason skeptics are skeptics is because they're not opening their heart up to the possibility of something more existing. And so a spirit is not going to come through to that. And if they are, a skeptic certainly isn't going to be aware of it. So I'm telling her, I start seeing this like visual of, as she continues to talk, I start seeing this visual of this like hot day, and it wasn't in the US, like it was somewhere else. I could just tell because there were, different people around, and it was like, it looked like it was in Vietnam. And so, I mean, I've never been, but it looks like it looked like a scene from Vietnam. And so it was like this marketplace, and it was veggies like everywhere, just veggies in crates. Those wooden crates with the slats, like the old school. That's what it was like that you would see at an outdoor market. And it was so specific. And there were like tomatoes and cucumbers. Is tomato a fruit, by the way? I'm like just saying, because there were tomatoes there. Fruit, let's just say fruit and veggie if it is. Not to be all technical, but that was a random question that came to mind. Can someone answer that for me? Is it a fruit? If it is, I'm going to be really pissed off and annoyed, because that is so annoying. Why is that? Why can't it just be a vegetable? Anyway, So I'm seeing all these veggies around, and I'm like, wow, this is so overwhelming. And I've started feeling hot too. And so I asked her, I said, can I tell you something else? And she's like, yes, please do. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm seeing like a market with vegetables. And she's like, stop. Guys, I can't make it up. I really couldn't if I tried. And she said, I can't even believe you're saying this. My dad and my great-grandmother, that was their activity together. It was like her business, her hobby was to work at the veggie market. I'm like, I can't. I really can't. And to add even more validation and confirmation, she said to me that her dad would always be so hot and sweating, but he was willing to put up with it because it was time with his really, really long time buddy, his her great grandmother. And so actually was it his great grandmother or his grandma? It's starting to fade now. But moral of the story, they were buddies, right? And they had that bond, and it was in the veggie market. Like I can't. I really can't even do it. And so everything she was describing made sense to me. I'm like, wow, that is so specific, and it just makes so much sense. So yes, spirit from another person's spirit guide was sending me messages today at my lash appointment. But the only reason this is happening, and I am never going to sit here and say, oh, I'm a medium now. I'm not a psychic. Like I'm not. We all have the capacity. My own medium tells me we all have the capacity. My girlfriend's energy healer, who I actually just started working with, she would say the same thing. We all have the capacity to tap into this, but a lot of people refuse. And so they don't open up space for divine messages to be delivered in their life. And the reason I share this with you, and the reason so many people ask me this, is because people have a need to connect with spirit and know that someone is there. We have been taught, many of us, not all of us, but many of us have been taught that there is more to this lifetime. There is more. It couldn't all be a coincidence. I have believed that since I was young. Maybe you have believed that since you were young. I also had a revelation last week where I realized when I was little, there were spirits in my head, and I heard their voices, and I didn't know what to make of that. I wasn't aware when I was a little kid. But it was not good energy. I'm going to say that much. It was not good energy. It was two angry men yelling at me, I felt like, swearing at me, saying like, you're a bitch, F you. And I'm like, what is happening? Like I was a little girl. And I always said to them, no, stop, just stop. Which today I would say I release your energy back to you, or I don't even take it in. I don't even take it in, right? I don't even need to release it. You don't need to release it if you don't take it in. Sometimes it happens though. If you're an intuitive person, if you're an empathic person, it's very possible. And so when we're little, we're so open to curiosity. We're so open to learning more about our spiritual intuition without even realizing it, right? Like a lot of us when we're kids, unless we have parents who have taught us this, I didn't have parents who taught me that. So I didn't know what was happening. And I always thought I was crazy for like a couple years. Like I thought I was really crazy as a kid because I was hearing those voices and I didn't say anything. I think I was like between 7 and 9 years old. Never told a word, never said anything to anyone. This is actually one of the first times, because I talked about it on social media today when I was telling this story, because it was just such a beautiful story, and a beautiful presence from my lash technician's great grandmother, like beautiful presence. She was so nurturing. But yeah, when I was little, I always thought there was something wrong with me. So, and there wasn't. It was just I was spiritually in tune. One of my girlfriends, she has had psychic ability since she was little, and she's always had it. She's always lived with it. And it's very, very real. She is also a very deep empathic person. So she's always been open to it. There was a time in my life where I think I closed myself off to it, and maybe I started questioning and doubting it. And now I'm so open. I mean, the floodgates, it's like you can invite any kind of energy, which you got to be careful with that as well. But for me, it was just this incredible presence that I felt today from Audrey's great grandmother, like just so, really so beautiful. And I told her, I said, it feels so nurturing. I feel like I'm being hugged. I really do, because I felt very warm, or especially around the heart space. And I felt very loved. And I said, this must really, I could feel the love that she had for Audrey's dad. I could feel that. And it was really beautiful. And so, yeah, man, I'm really reflecting on it. It was amazing. Last week I had my client, her cat, who has crossed over, who she loved so much. That was actually our first client call together. That was our first Zoom call. And she talked about her cat. And it was like, there's no coincidence here. Like, I know, I just felt, and I have dogs here, but they don't come in my office because I have this big old, you guys can see it on YouTube. I have the big old backdrop behind me. So it wasn't my dogs. It wasn't the Cavaliers. It most certainly was not. And trust me, they make their presence known. But no, I felt her cat's like, just, it was so sweet. It was just this little brush against the leg, and I could feel her cat's tail, and I'm like, oh my God. And so, it was really, really, it's been really amazing. And I'm starting to feel other people's guides' energy, which is, it's crazy. I still, it's weird. It's like just this new thing for me. It's a newer thing. But you can too. And I want to share these things because it is new for me, newer as of like the last 6 months. And, I want you guys to know you can tap into this. It's possible if you want to. You don't have to, but it most certainly provides you a lot of clarity in life. It most certainly does. And I have my late friend Terry. She's always communicating with me. I had a really rough week a couple weeks ago, and I really was trying to, there was this decision I had to make, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to go through with it. I don't know if I'm going to go through with it. I don't know if I'm going to go through with it. And so in the car, I'm like, and I always get spirit, and I'll tell you guys in a second how you can connect, because that's the point of this, but I always connect with spirit in the car. And so I'm in the car, and I was texting my girlfriend something about, I don't know if I can do this. And then all of a sudden, and I was playing folklore music, literally like, I'm weird, okay? I think we all know that at this point. I was listening to like Renaissanceal folklore type of music, and out of absolute nowhere, the song Big Bank comes on. Guys, you just look it up. It's a rap song. It's so good. It is so good. And my late friend Terry and I always danced to that song. We used to be neighbors, and she just always will hold such a special place in my heart. She took me in after I left an abuser. Our mutual friend connected us, which I'm so grateful for to this day. And Terry she's always communicating with me through music and in the car. And I know she knows it's my jam. Like she knows it. And it's just like, the song started playing right as I was texting my friend about, I don't know if I should do this. And well, let me tell you right now, I actually made the decision. I was feeling called to do it and lean into resistance. And it was the right decision. I'll explain that story on another day. If I get permission to share it, because it involves someone else. So it was awesome. It was awesome. And I'm like, wow, sometimes the messages that we get delivered are not what we want to hear, but what we need to hear. Your guides, they're always going to guide you to the path of light, right? You are the light as well. You make your choices. You determiner. You determine where you're going, right? That is for you. And so as far as connecting with spirit, I would encourage you to go to a place that elevates you, that soothes you, that makes you feel peace, that makes you feel calm. For me, it's always walking in nature, the woods. Oh my gosh, you guys, the woods, man. I love a good bonfire. It's the best thing ever. Like, I'm not a beach person, never have been. I love a fire. Maybe it's the Sagittarian in me. Also, the fact that summer goes away makes me feel so happy, it sounds like very contradictory, but I would rather have a fire in like 20-degree weather. And I love the winter. I love the fall. This is my, like, I'm out of my seasonal depression. The fall and winter. In the fall and winter. It's so good. I'm like, bye. See, everybody's like, crying. And I'm like, see ya. See ya, summer. Bye, girl. But seriously, I love it. And so do that. Go on nature walks. Get in your car. Go on long drives. A lot of people connect. Just you don't even realize it's happening. But have you ever had like an epiphanic thought in the car where you're like, wow, why didn't I think of that before? Or in the shower, people always say, I always get my thoughts. Like I always get the greatest ideas in the shower, right? When I'm not like at my computer. That's spirit. That's actually spirit. So a lot of people are catching on. A lot of people are catching on to spirit. This is what our ancestors, like way, way, way long ago, this was like every day for them. So it's not weird that I'm advising you guys or suggesting to connect with spirit. It's not that weird. This is how people used to live every single day. It's just fascinating how society has skewed so many things and has limited us in so many ways. And has really put us in a cage, honestly, like has put us in this like trap of just desperation, the need for validation, toxicity. It's just so much. It's so heavy. So, but it doesn't have to be. That's the thing. So the car, the shower is really healing. Water is a very, very good healing, purifying substance. It is good for you, especially natural water from the earth, the ocean. This is why people love the ocean. Where else can you go? You can do your meditations outside. I mean, I love the outdoors. That is that's where I go to connect. That is where I do meditation. If it's nice outside, right? I'll go outside. And if you ever need to, sometimes you're going to feel like you're floating above the earth because you're just elevating yourself, literally. It's not like you're actually levitating, but it feels like you are because you're connecting with such a high frequency. And so what I will suggest also is if those moments happen, just go outside, step on the ground. Sometimes these will happen after really intense dreams that you have that were designed for you. Like literally they are subconsciously being delivered to you because it's a message. Angel dreams are very crazy. Like they're very specific. So I always have very specific dreams. I've always had them since I was a kid. Very vivid, everything in color. I almost remember not all of my dreams because I think we dream like, I don't know how many we have a night, like 20. How much is it? I'll have to look that stat up, but we have like dozens of dreams every night, most of which we can't remember. But the ones that I do remember, I mean, I could write a playwright on them. I remember those dreams. They're so good. Not all of them though. Like I had a dream, Keith, my fiance, was brutally murdered. And then his body was, I'm sorry, trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. I had a dream that like I found him, and it was just, without getting into graphic detail, it was really bad. It was really bad. And that was one of those moments where I had to get out of the house. Like I literally did not feel that I was on this planet. It was very uncomfortable. It wasn't peaceful. I will say that I was not peaceful at all. And so I had to go outside. I literally I was bawling my eyes out for hours, guys, for hours. So another thing that's going to happen when you connect with spirit is you will start to feel very emotional. You will cry a lot more than you normally do because you are now opening up the floodgates to receiving energy. You might not have been so open before, but when you're open to receiving people's energy, you're asking for it. So it's like it's going to happen. What your guides are going to help you do through testing you, and I know this all sounds crazy, but what they will do is they will start providing you tests along your life path. If you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm taking on, like 2 weeks ago, I was taking on everyone and their mother's energy. Like it was so overwhelming. I was crying for this person. I was crying for this person. I was crying for another person. And I knew this was a test from my guides, my angels, to release it. And so you can release it. It's not for you to solve. It's not your responsibility to take on anyone else's energy but your own. That's it. Period. And so as you connect more and more and more, the more you open your heart to ultimate guidance. And it's so amazing. And things don't feel as heavy anymore, because they will feel heavy. I will say this, when you have spiritual awakenings, you hear that term a lot on social media these days, spiritual awakening. A spiritual awakening is usually not fun. It is not this like, yay, I feel so great and elevated and I'm just vibrating so highly. No, because here's the thing. In order for you to elevate spiritually, you got to experience some sort of darkness. And it's rough. I have a lot of clients who come to me for life coaching, and they tell me, there's so much darkness in this relationship. There's so much darkness in my life right now. The bills, the this, the that, the other, and it's a lot. And I always talk to them about this. And so when we are at that rock bottom, quote unquote, rock bottom moment, it's the setup. I always say, in my mind, I visualize this because I used to play volleyball. It's the set to a perfect spike. It really is. And when you feel that, you start to get, as you feel it over time, because you always have spiritual awakenings, you're always elevating yourself, it starts to feel a little more comfortable. Like, it's not good, but you're like, okay, I know what this looks like, right? When it's like trauma healing, like you know your triggers now, you know what that looks like. And you now know, okay, here's how I'm going to navigate it. It's all testing. And it's the most beautiful testing there is, because it gives you such a greater perspective on everything. And it oh my gosh, it so deepens your compassion for yourself and for others. And so when we talk people pleasing on the Pleaser Life podcast, I really, really suggest you start tapping into spirit if it's something you're open to. You don't have to. I am speaking for people who have wanted to know more about this, who have specifically asked me about this. So I hope this resonates with you guys. I hope it landed. If it did, you know the drill. Go to iTunes, go to Spotify, leave me a 5-star rave review, baby. Nothing less. 5-star reviews on iTunes and Spotify. I am so open to hearing your suggestions for these episodes. I have 1.5 million things that we are going to be covering and talking about, but my wish for you is to always take something away from the Pleaser Life podcast. I want this to be something that you learn from. And I'm really excited to see all the pleasers out there and the community that we build along the way. So thanks for listening to this episode, you guys. I will see you on the next one.